evening, everybody. Welcome to this Around the Ropes YouTube exclusive. And guys, before we get into our interview, I just want to make a mention also, any of these interviews, not only can you hear them on our YouTube page, but now you can also listen to them as well. We are on Spotify, so definitely go find us on Spotify. All you guys search is that lovely word down there that says Around the Ropes Podcast, and you'll find us there. But guys, as you know, this week is Dynasty Week, and we're keeping things moving here. Last week, we had Sgt Fury on, and I've said this at every time I've been talking about Dynasty. I think this is going to be one of the best matches of the night from a storytelling perspective, based off what Fury said. And now it's time to talk to his opponent. Joining the program for the first time, you've seen him a lot with World of Hurt up in the Vermont area. The one, the only, Punk makes his debut on the Around the Ropes podcast. How you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you on, and can't wait to hear what you have to say after what Fury said about you last week.
Yeah. You want to get to it right? You want to get to the meat right away, or you want to work into that, man?
No, let's work into it, because I want to let people get to know, because there may be people who are watching this or listening to this who may not know specifically who Punk is.
That's
so let me start up with that. Who is Punk?
I'm an old guy, brother. No, I'm an old World of Hurt original. I always stayed loyal to World of Hurt because it's where I got my start. Even though in the early 2000s, I ventured out to a few other places. I traveled all over the place, but World of Hurt was always my home. But I'm super excited to work with Dynasty this weekend. It's one of the very few indies that I do outside of World of Hurt that they got a great product, a great show. They always got surprises. They got people talking. And when I had the opportunity to hop on a Dynasty show, especially 20 minutes from my house, I couldn't say no to that. So I'm actually really, really looking forward to it.
It's going to definitely be a fun show on Saturday night. Again, guys, you definitely can still get your tickets. Go to purplepass.com. I think it's /B4 Impact. I think that's the way it came out. I could be wrong, but I think that's the way it came out.
Got a better memory than me. I just got to copy the link.
But so what made you want to get into this crazy sport of pro wrestling?
As a kid, I was always drawn to it. I didn't watch sports. I didn't watch cartoons. I didn't get into comic books. I was either outside playing with friends or I was inside watching wrestling. It was like borderline an obsession. Like, I used to be able to tell you all the stats, every champion, what happened. I'd go back to the old Hollywood video and Blockbuster video and rent videos from before I started watching. And when I would get in trouble, my parents would ground me wrestling. They wouldn't allow me to watch Monday Night Raw until my grades got up. Still go outside and play, but no wrestling. So it was honestly, it was a passion of mine from a young age.
Now, anybody who's watching us who may be born after the year 2000, there was a thing back in the day where you actually went outside and play. You weren't on video games.
Yeah, and you came home when the streetlights were on. That's how I grew up.
I kind of grew up in between the two eras, so I can't really sit there and say that. I mean, yes, I did play outside quite a bit, but I also grew up partially in the era of the video game world. So I kind of was in between the two eras. But so were you more growing up? Were you more WWE or WCW or ECW, or it didn't matter?
Well, I was WWF back in the day.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the first time I ever watched wrestling was my brother. I got a younger brother. He's 8-9 years younger than me. He was born 3 months early. So when we were every waking moment, my mom was at the hospital while he was in, NICU, whatever they call that. So yeah. Every Saturday I had have to sit in the waiting room. And one Saturday morning they had on Superstars. And it was when the Undertaker beat up Hulk Hogan and ripped his gold chain off and, and them with that. So ever since that day, it was, that's what got me into it.
Now, were you attracted more to the heels or to the faces growing up?
At first, the faces. And then as I got a little older, it was definitely the heels. Old school NWO. I was into Shawn Michaels when he first started wrestling Bret Hart at the end of '92 at the Survivor Series. I was rooting for Shawn Michaels. As much as I loved Bret Hart, it was at a young age, I like the attitude of Shawn Michaels when he was coming up a bit, and then Stone Cold just blew it off the roof.
So you were more of like an NWO fan before they turned into basically every member of WCW being
Yes.
in the group?
Then it got watered down, but I would go back and watch the old NWA stuff whenever I'd get it, all depending on I could get my hands on. I even would get into some shoot fighting in Japan. There was like some mix of pro wrestling, shoot fights. I'd get some tape trading going on, watch some of that stuff, whatever I can get my hands on.
Hey, you were passionate about it, and it turned out to be a very successful career for you now. Now, you said, you were a World of Hurt original. How did you get started with World of Hurt? How did you get started with the whole being an independent wrestler?
Well, that's kind of it's semi-long story, but the cliff notes of it, and this is a really funny story, but when I was 15 years old, I was in a bar. I could grow a full beard, and on Friday nights you could get free wings when you buy a pitcher of beer. So I go, and this man named Hoss was there who wrestled for New Breed Wrestling. So I'm in there, and I'd seen him get slammed through a table by Iron Mike Sharp like a month before. So of course I had to go pick his ear and talk to him and all that. And he's like, "Hey, we're training down at Cahoe's. You should come on down and train with us." This is when it was New Breed Wrestling, and I couldn't tell him I'm only 15. I'm drinking beers in a bar with him. So fast forward, 6 to 9 months later, their World of Hurt now moved to Schenectady. Now I got my license, and they had a program Kenny Casanova was running where for 16 to 18-year-olds, where he would kind of teach you a little bit basic ropes, you know what I mean? Basic bumps. And then you do almost like a backyard show, but like in a ring. And they would try to get a couple World of Hurt guys to come in. And here comes Haas one Saturday morning. He comes walking in, and he's like, "Wasn't I in a bar with you last summer?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "What the heck are you doing here with the 16 to 18-year-olds?" And I'm like, "I'm 16, bro." So from that point on, he kind of somewhat took me under his wing. And then Danger at the time was he was working with Dory Funk Jr., going to the Funkin' Dojo quite a bit. So Danger took like a leave of absence from World of Hurt for a while. And then he came back, and me just being a punk ass kid, and this is before I had the nickname Punk, everybody jumped out of the ring. I stayed in there with Danger and had a little shoot wrestling match with him. And as soon as I was an amateur wrestler. So as soon as he left his head hanging, I held on to his head for dear life, and I didn't let go until he told me to get off him. And then he got up, shook my hand. He said, "Welcome to World of Hurt." And I was just before my 17th birthday. So I was still 16 and, running the ropes with the World of Hurt crew. And then he's the one that actually.
Since you have been with World of
What's that?
That's actually going to be one of my questions. That was actually going to be my next question was, how did you get the nickname of Punk?
So Danger was actually the booker. And my first show, he made me Hoss's little brother Punk. And because it fit, at first I hated it. I was like, I don't want to be some emo punk kid. You know what I mean? Like, even though I was the 90s Jenko jeans kid, I didn't want to do that with wrestling. Because, you grow up, you want to be Stone Cold, you want to be Shawn Michaels. When you're 16, you don't get it. You know what I mean? But I actually liked it, and I kind of grew into it a little bit, and it fit me. It was my personality, because I was an asshole. I mean, I still am, but I'm an asshole in a different way now.
I joke with people now because I've slowly become an asshole now, but not that I'm a mean asshole. I'm a joking asshole.
Yep.
And I turn around to people. I'm like, yeah, I'm a tasteful asshole. And then I realize as I say that, I'm like, oh, that could have gone. It's some people that could be taken a totally different way.
Yes. Yeah. But you know what? If it offends somebody, I don't care. It's fun.
Oh, I look at it as life is too short to let every little thing get to you.
Yes. Everybody's so days. I don't understand it. Like, just live life, man. Enjoy it. Crack a joke. Like, if I mess something up, I'm the first one. Like, if I do something stupid in a wrestling match, if I got it on video, I'm showing all the boys. Like, look how stupid this thing went. Like, here's a good laugh. You know what I mean? Hey, I slipped. You know what I mean? Here, let's have a laugh. if it's at me. I don't care.
Like, I'll admit, growing up, I was more of I tried to play sports. And
Yeah.
when I say tried, I was more of a klutz than anything.
Yep.
And I have stories that I'll sit there and I'll tell people now the stories, and they'll look at me, they'll be like, "Aren't you embarrassed by that?" Like, I have stories about my cup falling down to my knee, sliding to second base, playing Little League. I have stories about me getting injured at football practice because I didn't know how to do an up down properly.
Yep.
And the whole point of my thing is, and people look at me, they're like, aren't you, aren't you embarrassed by it? I'm like, no. I'm like, I screwed up. It's a funny story. I tell people now, and they look at me, they're like, but then they're like dumbfounded by it. I'm like, if you trip going to if you tripped on a field, wouldn't you be? I'm like, I know many 8-year-old kids who ask their coach to take a timeout because they have to go use the bathroom.
Yeah, now looking back on it, you're like, man, I was only like 8, 9 years old. Why don't I just speak up? But like, when you're in that age, you're like, oh, my boys are gonna laugh at me, like as your cup fills up with urine. We've all been there,
Yeah.
but they were there.
Yeah, like I said, I have stories that I could literally, if I wanted to, and I had time, could probably write a book on.
Yeah.
And it's stories that I look back on it now and I'm like, what was I thinking back then?
Yeah.
And now I look at it and then I laugh. But now, since you've been with World of Hurt, you've been with World of Hurt since basically the doors opened.
Yeah, I mean, I was there right after they opened the doors to World of Hurt. I think I started training in 98, and then my first actual show for them was 99.
But you were there from basically the early days of World of Hurt.
Yep.
And I saw last week that they had done a show up in the Vermont area that looked packed to the gills.
Last Friday night?
Yeah.
That was an insane crowd up there. That place, I would wrestle every weekend if every crowd was like that. That was an anomaly. It was a bunch of drunk college kids. When they all emptied out, there was bottles of freaking Jim Beam and all this stuff laying on the ground. It was the college town. They were sneaking alcohol. And you know what? It reminded me of when I first started. Back when it was still the Wild West. ECW was still going. There was hardcore shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's when I got into wrestling, was for crowds like that. And now it's died down a little bit on some indies where it's not as wild and crazy. No different than the indies aren't as crazy as they used to be. It's a lot. Now it's more of a buffet, where back in the day it was like, you get hit in the head and it was a badge of honor to stay standing. Now they're a little smarter. These guys, I hate to say it, I'm the old guy. Hey, I learned from all my concussions. Like, be a little smarter with it. But that show definitely reminded me of the old days of when the crowds were not.
Oh no, and I see that now because I go to a lot of shows down in Jersey and I go to a lot of shows in upstate New York, and I see the crowd, especially in upstate New York. I see the crowd is incredibly electric. When obviously, in your run so far, you've been mostly a heel, correct?
Yeah, majority of it.
Have you ever been afraid? Because, like you were saying before, you have some crowds that get very rowdy. Have you ever had the fear of somebody taking it too far? Of that?
Oh, I wish they would. I've been hit by fans. I've been chased out of buildings. I've been approached at my vehicle after a show before. I wish somebody would take a swing at me. I had one idiot that spit on me like a year ago, and I reluctantly spit back at him. I wish I didn't do that, but if somebody's got the balls to come up and put their hands on me, that'd be the last move they made.
Now, going back to the fact of, that you've been with World of Hurt for some time, if you have somebody who's watching this who's never been to a World of Hurt show, why would somebody want to make the trip up to go see World of Hurt?
It's like any indie show, but it's my home. Like, you can go find places you're comfortable at. Like, World of Hurt is like family to me. The wrestlers, they got a buffet of everything. Like, I was in a tables match over the weekend, but then they got guys that come in from Jersey that are trained by Damian Adams. And I mean, I'll give that guy his credit. I've never seen anybody like Damian Adams that trains guys and girls the way that he trains them. He shows up with a video camera. He goes in the locker room afterwards. He breaks everything down for his guys and girls. Just great workers, great talent. Great show, bell to bell, and it's a buffet of a little bit of everything. It's not just high spots the whole show. You'll get a little bit of old school. You'll get a little bit of the high spots. You'll get, a table here or there. You'll get, it's like a lot of the other indies, but it's my home. It'll always be my home. But I'm not afraid to go elsewhere either.
And I get what you're saying, because I see it a lot with the companies I go to. And to me, that makes a good show is when it's not the same. Because most of the shows, you have your 8 matches, your 4 in the beginning, intermission, and then the 4 to close out the show. And when you have it basically 8 matches of the exact same thing, right, to me, that's boring. When you have, the table matches, you have the comedy match, you have the I've heard the buffet line quite often.
Yep.
Especially doing this show. Now, in your time with World of Hurt, who would you say is your greatest opponent if you had to pick one?
Of all time, I mean, I would have to say it would be Hoss. We were my first actual match with World of Hurt, we won the tag team championships. When I was just turned 17 years old. And then, we separated, and I have fought Hoss, all up and down the East Coast. Tables matches, TLC, chairs. Even in TSW, when TSW was around in Vermont back in the day. I'd say it was him, Texas Outlaw, and Jim Tanner were like the 3 guys where a lot of the times, we were, because I like doing the hardcore stuff. So I enjoyed it. Give me some barbed wire. Give me a table. Like, if Sgt Fury thinks I'm afraid of his barbed wire bat next weekend, dude, I used to eat barbed wire for breakfast. So I'm not afraid of any of that. I bring it on. So
I'm glad you brought up Sgt Fury, because that's where I want to head to now. You guys are set for a collision course this coming Saturday. I actually have the graphic right here. So then, in case people don't believe me, there's the graphic right there. Fury, Punk, this Saturday, brace for Impact for Dynasty. Now, I had Sgt Fury on this show last week. And when your name came up, he had some very interesting things to say.
Yep.
Now, I hope you had you said before you did have a chance to at least, I hope you got a chance to at least see that part, what he said about you.
Yeah, I saw some of it. I saw how he liked to say I was protected in World of Hurt. When in reality, by the time he got there, I was 4 or 5 years in. And, but you can say I'm protected, but when I'm in the main event and your match 2 or 3, not even opening match, because opening match is supposed to be a good match. He wasn't even opening match. He was match 2 or 3. So he said I was protected. That to me is a cop-out. That was somebody that wasn't ready at the time. He's showing up in his army fatigues wanting to be the second coming of Sergeant Slaughter. And he just wasn't to the level that I was at that time. And now, 20 years later, we're going to meet at Dynasty. And you know what? He's probably, the one thing I will say that he was right on was if this goes into deep waters, it definitely favors him. But I plan to drop him in about 2 minutes. That's my plan. 2 minutes. If it goes past then, you get into the 10, 12-minute mark, it's going to start favoring Fury. But he needed to step it up back in the day. I wasn't protected. I was working the likes of Jeff Starr, Danger, Hoss, Brody Lee when he was first starting out. Shockwave. Don't tell me I was protected. You were the one that was protected because you weren't ready yet. I was there. I was the one drawing the houses. He had to step up to my game. And then he waited until I left World of Hurt for 6 years. Then he finally stepped up his game. And all of a sudden he's running with a ataxia. And now he's looking like he's with the Walking Dead now with his little bat. Bring whatever you want, Fury. I'm ready for it. I've seen guys like him come and go in this business a million times.
Guys, I said this when we had Fury on. I'm going to say this now. If this match between Punk and Fury doesn't make you want to buy a ticket for Brace for Impact this coming Saturday, then I don't know what will. Because listen to what Fury had to say, and now listen to what you just had to say. This is going to be a fight. I'm just going to put it out there right now.
Listen, there ain't going to be no toe holds. There's not going to be any arm bars. I'm taping my fists up and I'm swinging. I told you, I'm planning. I'm not paid by the hour. I'm paid to go in there no matter what it is, and I plan to drop them. And then I'm going to go to the bar and have a drink afterwards. That's the way I like to roll.
Now, is this your first time? Because I know Dynasty's been around for some time. Is this your first time with doing a Dynasty show?
It is actually. I'm really looking forward to it. When they called me and asked if I would do it, I was pretty excited, honestly. And it's not often that I do, but like my career is winding down. I got out of it for a while. I came back just because Haas's son wanted a match, and he was starting out training. And Haas helped me out so much as when I was young that I felt like it was the right thing to do to help his son out, get him on a show, get him a match. So like this last couple of years that I've been back doing it here and there, you know, I pick and choose where I want to go. If it's going to be fun, I'll go and do it, you know, and it was intriguing to me. It's local, and after seeing what they've done their last few shows here with Jay Lethal, they bring in the Velveteen Dream and with all these other guys, and I don't follow indies that well, but when I seen some of the matches they had, I was like, that dude, it's awesome. It's great what they put on. I'm really, really looking forward to it, actually.
Well, it also is probably going to be nice being that it's only about 20 minutes away from where you live, so that probably doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't. I get to sleep in my own bed after the show, which is always nice because when you go up to northern Vermont, you got to stay in a little hotel in some rat town, but you know.
But I want to go back to your upcoming match with Fury here because I hear what you were saying about the, Fury's got to bring a lot, and that this is going to be, there's not going to be any arm bars or any of that stuff. But here's my only question I'm going to bring up though. Because of the fact with him with the crowd, as we've seen, he has been on a bit of a losing streak.
Yeah, it's going to continue.
Well, my thing I want to bring up though, are you going to have to dig very deep to have to beat him, being that with everything he has going for him right now?
What's he got going for him? He's on a losing streak.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is, the whole, because when I had Sgt Fury on, and I said to him, with everything that he has, I don't want him to let his emotions get in the way. And when your back is against the wall, like Fury is, because I even said this on my live show this past Tuesday, Fury is kind of putting himself in a position where this almost comes off as a must win, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because this is the show coming up in June is going to be their 4th show since they've come back. Eventually there's going to be titles in the works at some point. I don't know when. I don't have any insider knowledge about that. I don't know when it's going to happen. And Fury is, I think, one of the guys who, if he's able to get this win, I'm saying if, I'm not saying it's going to be definite.
It ain't happening, but we'll go with the ifs. I'll play ball with you. Okay, if he's able to win, let's play.
Then I think he can finally get the monkey off his back.
Yeah, but see, I'm going to be the monkey on his back this weekend, and he ain't going to get up. Listen, he can sit here and talk about his training. He can talk about his mud runs and going into the gym and pumping iron. I'm old school, man. I'm blue collar. I'm lifting heavy things all day long. And I don't need to go into a gym and pretend to be lifting these things. He's built for show. I'm built to go. And he's never been in the ring with somebody like me that's willing to go as deep as I am. As far as the pain I'm willing to bring, I go into every single match like it's do or die. And I ain't died yet. And when he's on a losing streak, he's going to trip and fall. And as soon as he's there, I'm going to be right there to capitalize on him. And then I'm going to laugh because that's what I do.
I said this before. I seriously cannot wait for this match. This is probably one of the biggest matches that I've been looking forward to as a fan of indie wrestling. Just by hearing what you've just had to say, and what Fury said last week on the show, I seriously cannot wait for the show. But now, outside of your match, is there another match that you're looking forward to seeing on Saturday as a fan?
Oh man. To be honest with you, run down the card. What other matches are on there? I know there's the 5-way with the girls. I know.
If you give me 2 seconds, I can grab it for you. Give me 2 seconds on that.
Nova's on there. There's
Yeah.
that Rose guy I'm looking forward to seeing. I've never seen.
Actually, better idea. I have the card actually right here, so I can just pull the card up quickly. You got Fox Vineyard and Conan. You got obviously yourself and Fury. You got the 6-way women's match, Nova and Smith, and Rose and Wayno.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Rose and Wayno. I've heard a lot about those guys, but I've never seen them really work. And so that's the one I'm really looking forward to. Jeff Nova, he's a World of Hurt guy. And, Smith, he was with Ataxia, if I believe, back in the day. So, I'm looking, those two got something to prove. So, and Conan, I just hope he whoops up on Fox Vineyard. I don't really know who Conan is, but I just hope he whoops up on Fox Vineyard.
I'm going to laugh. You're the second person this week who, when I brought up the Fox Vineyard match, they go, I don't care what happens, just Conan has to win.
He's an unlikable guy. I'll just leave it at that. He's his own worst enemy.
In my brief interactions with Fox, especially he'll be on the show tomorrow night, actually, he likes to talk.
He likes to talk about himself. I've never seen a grown dude whose screensaver is a picture of themselves. Who does that? Seriously, what grown-ass man does that? Is your screensaver a picture of you on your phone?
No, it's actually a picture of, I'll show it quickly. It's a picture of the podcast.
See? There you go. But what dude has a picture of themselves on their phone? Come on now.
I'm going to behave on that one because he'll be a guest tomorrow night.
I don't behave, man.
Oh, I believe me. Okay, I'll just say it now. It could just be that he's compensating for something. I'm just saying.
Listen, you ever see him go on Facebook and complain about women ghosting him? Like, come on. Obviously, he's coming up a little short.
Well, because the problem is he when he got his haircut, they left a piece of it on.
Well, I can listen. Okay, here. I'll peel back the curtain just a little bit here. Here's a little insider for you, okay? So I'm on a couple dating apps myself, locally. I meet this girl. I see she's friends on Facebook with Fox Vineyard. Now I got to check because I'm not trying to be tunnel buddies with Fox Vineyard, okay? Last thing I want to do is be Eskimo brothers with that guy, okay? So I go to her. I said, please tell me you haven't, hit the shag with the Fox Vineyard over there. She's like, no. The guy, do you know what he wanted to do? He says, hey, let's get to know each other. Let's go hang out Netflix. Do you know what she says? No, let's go out to dinner or do something instead. I don't want to just jump into the bed with you. Do you know what his response was? Why do I got to spend money to get to know you? Come on. If you meet a girl and she wants to hang out, old school man, you take the girl to dinner. You go buy her a drink. You don't say, I don't want to spend money on you. And then go on Facebook and wonder why girls ditch you. And then your screensaver is a picture of yourself. Again, I'm old school. Men are men. Be a man.
I'll say this much. Just to piggyback off what you just said. I had a girlfriend start of the pandemic. And I was very much even though I'm in the even though people say I'm in the new school generation, I was very old school when it came to her. We went out for dinner, anything she wanted. I was like, yep, here you go. I'll pay for it.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. Like, and I get in modern day, I get women want, like, you don't want to make a woman feel like below or like she's not like, if a woman wants to pay her way, in a way, I kind of get how they feel demeanored if you don't let them. But like the guy should always offer. That's just like morals. Like that's the way you should be raised. I don't understand it.
I mean, I will say this much. The last thing I'll say on Fox, he probably gets very cheap for a haircut.
He probably does it.
Just,
I mean, hey, I do it myself, but hey.
yeah, but here's the difference though, Punk. You're completely bald. You don't have the Fox look of having a patch over here.
Yeah. I mean, I can still grow a full head of hair. I just look like a tool bag with hair. So I just figured pull it right off. I know. Listen, I ain't the best looking guy in the world here, but I mean, you give me a head of hair, man. Oof, that's pretty ugly.
Well, I don't know if you can see with me, I actually have to get a haircut soon because my issue is my hair doesn't grow long, it grows out. And I've said this numerous amount of times. I get to the point I'm starting to grow a Jufro.
Are you Jewish? Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, I'm Jewish.
But we don't want you canceled. That we don't want somebody like, hey, this guy's just
Oh no,
making
I'm
sure.
Jewish. I'm 100% Jewish, and yeah,
You
I've said
say,
that.
now, if I said I'd have that, I'd get canceled.
That's why somebody like me can get away with saying that because I
Yeah,
am of the people.
there you go, man. You got to rock it if it looks good.
That's, but Punk, like I said, I want it to be Saturday already. I want to be in that freaking Waterville Dome, and just let you and Fury just go at it. I seriously cannot wait for this match.
That's the plan, man. I'm in there. I want first round knockout. If there was rounds in pro wrestling, I'm going for a first round. I don't want to go to the judges' scorecards because trust me, I know Fury's got the gas tank. I will give him that. So the longer it goes, the more it's favoring him. But I'm not paid by the hour.
And the other thing I also will offer to you now, and this will be on here, I'm actually doing the kickoff show, but I'll be on live the entire show Saturday.
Yep.
You're more than welcome to stop by.
Listen, if you can catch me, man. I'll stop in. I might be in the zone. I might be, I'm chill right now. I'm sitting here talking to you, having a drink. I keep it in the red Solo cup, so we're not plugging nobody here. But and I'll be in the zone. The adrenaline will be flowing. I'll be ready to go. So I might be a little on edge because I'm going to be ready to drop Fury. But if I see you, I'll stop by.
Yeah, I'll have everything set up. But guys, Punk, before we wrap things up, first of all, like I said, I greatly appreciate you coming on with me to continue this Dynasty Week. Guys, Dynasty Week continues with upcoming guests of Fox Vineyard, Chris Envy, Wayno, Johnny Patches, and the general manager of the Diamonds division, Kristen DeVille, are my other guests joining me to wrap up Dynasty Week. But Punk, before we let you go, where can the fans connect with you on social media, and what else do you have that you like to promote?
I'm not a big social media guy. I have my Facebook, but it's a personal Facebook. I don't usually give that out to people unless like I know people, but I don't do Instagram. I don't do Twitter. I don't sell any merchandise. I'm just old school. I'm in there to go in, punch somebody in the mouth, walk out. That's what I'm there for. And that's what I plan to do on Saturday. But saying thank you to me. We appreciate guys like you that are out here doing these podcasts and giving promotions like Dynasty, a little bit of, publicity and rub and helping roll the herd out by mentioning them. If it wasn't for guys like you, again, I came from, early before social media was around, before smartphones were around. I remember when it was just message boards when we were starting out. So like guys like you that do these podcasts and give these promotions a place to promote and tell stories and help, sell the shows, man, it really makes a difference to the promotion. So thank guys like you and for doing all that.
Oh, I look this way, and I'll wrap up with this. There are 9,000 wrestling podcasts out there.
Yeah.
And I've said this plenty of times on the live show. And a lot of them will cover WWE and AEW. And I cover those as well. But not many of them will touch on the indies. And that's where I was like, you know what? When I started the show almost 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? Let me touch on the indies. Let me give the independent scene. And yes, granted, would I like to be covering independent scene across the country? Yes, absolutely. But I want to start off in the area that I know very well, and that's my backyard, New York.
Yep.
So when I have the opportunity to get the a lot of the independent guys on, I love doing it because to me it's like, okay, you know, people who may not know of, you know, of yourself, Fox Vineyard, Chris Envy, Kristen, you know, Sgt Fury. Now it's like, okay, ooh, I heard him on Around the Ropes. Let me go check out some of his other matches.
Yep.
And that, even if it doesn't do that, it still puts some eyes on the product. And that's all I try to do is I try to help any way I can. Yes, granted, I'm not busted open. I'll be the first one to say that. But I am the first Around the Ropes podcast.
Yeah. And that, you know what? Sometimes being the original is the better way to go, man.
I definitely agree.
Niche. And if you have your niche, people will come, you know?
I definitely agree with that. But again, Punk, thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate it a lot. And guys, you can catch Punk this Saturday as he takes on Sgt Fury at Dynasty as they present Brace for Impact live from the Water of Elite Dome up in Water of Elite, New York. Go get your tickets, purplepass.com/the letter B, the number 4, Impact. That's the letter B, the number 4, Impact. If you go to Dynasty's page, there is plenty of codes you can use. So definitely plug the code in. And guys, if you're in the area, definitely come by and see a great night of wrestling because that's what Dynasty does, is they give you a great night of pro wrestling. But again, for Punk, I'm John. This has been Around the Ropes, YouTube exclusive. We'll catch you guys next time.
Cheers.